team and we'll try to answer as best as possible. But if you are a realtor, there's a couple different ways you can ask your question. You can either raise your hand and ask it live, or you can always go to the Q&A and we can answer your question that way. Please make sure you stay till the end of the session and get with your NEXA loan officer. We'll tell you how to get some free creative marketing tools. And yeah, did I miss anything? Dan's
No,
not
you're all good. You're all good, Karen.
okay. Yes, Dan is not mean. He's gonna say that he's mean, he's not. So,
I will try
Marilee.
not to be mean.
Marilee, I'll give the floor to you.
All right, so today we're going to talk a little bit about FHA loans. FHA loans, most of you guys know, with a twist. Yes, there will be a little twisting involved because FHA is not just your 3.5% down loan. There are also 203K loans, Good Neighbor Next Door, $100 down programs. There are a number of different things that you can combine. You can do all of them together. Where not the $100 down, but with the Good Neighbor Next Door and a 203K loan, you can combine some of them just depending on what your client's needs are. So as realtors, because I believe that's who the audience is today, when you are looking at homes, if you have somebody that has found the right neighborhood but not the right house, perfect time to do a 203K loan. They can make additions. They can do just some general repairs if it's not going to pass FHA inspection. There's also programs, websites that you can go to for HUD homes, houses. What is a HUD home? HUD home is a home that has been foreclosed on by, it's an FHA loan that essentially was foreclosed on. Those houses are being sold by HUD. And if you go onto the website, you can see the houses that are listed for sale in your area. And it will, it enables your buyer, if you have an FHA qualified buyer, so somebody that has 3.5% down if their score is 580 or better, 10% down if it's 500 or better, and qualifies, they can get away with just putting $100 down on the house for the down payment. So no 3.5% would be required. In those loans, you can also do, let's say that, you know, the house was foreclosed on. So chances are somebody was not, they're not going to be making the payments on their house. They may or may not have been taking care of the house appropriately. So some of there could be structural, not structural, but like, let's say, window, I've seen where windows have been busted out or just not well taken care of, needs new carpeting. In fact, the appraiser even had said that the carpet was hazardous to the people's house, so it didn't pass the minimum property requirements. So
can you just imagine what that looked like?
they would be yuck. But yeah, no, I'm thankful that I bless the realtors' hearts for going into those houses,
right?
for sure. But you know, we can work that into those types of loans and repair escrow on those types of loans. Unless you need to do structural repairs or it's greater than that $10,000 cap, then you're going to have to go over to a 3K loan, which is also possible. And you can do that with $100 down. So that's phenomenal.
Can you
on
go
those
over that a little more in detail? Because I kind of missed it. I was listening. So what's the $100 down?
It's on specifically on properties being sold by HUD. So houses that have been foreclosed on through or you know, they had somebody had an FHA mortgage, they foreclosed on it, they stopped paying on their mortgage, so now HUD owns the house.
Okay.
And they are listing it for sale. And so
Wow.
you can go in, there's like a map and you can click on your state and see all the houses that are listed in your area where somebody might qualify for something like that, or where that would be applicable. It's a special contract. It's different than the normal contract. It gets filled out and the list of the HUD approved realtors are listed right there as to who to contact to have that submitted.
Wow. That is huge. And
Mhm.
now what different markets are, because I know most times there's markets that these really kind of show themselves more prevalent than others. Like I know for the longest time, Detroit had so many different initiatives to kind of revitalize.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so they have, and I call it the unicorn loan. I've done 4 of them in my life, which I feel blessed that I've gotten to do them. But Good Neighbor Next Door, which is 50% off of the property. And those are in revitalization areas. In fact, when I pulled up the map, when I was doing with the LOs, there was 2 listed in the entire United States. So they
Oh,
truly are unicorns. And I had done them back, after the crash, and there were a lot of foreclosed on houses. I don't know that we're going to see it. I mean, hopefully, I pray that we don't, we have learned our lessons and that we're not getting into that situation again where there's a ton of foreclosures. But if you start to see or hear about a lot of foreclosures happening, then that might be a trigger to go online and take a peek to see if there happens to be one listed on there. And the Good Neighbor Next Door is not for everybody. You do have to be teacher, EMT, nurse. It's some in this serving your community, and but it truly is. You have to live in the house for 3 years, and you have to sign an affidavit each year saying that you're still living in that house. But you can have a $400,000 house that you're getting for 200,000, and that's just insane. So yeah, no, but again, 2 in the entire US right now. So
right,
that
yeah.
it's a unicorn, but it's a cool unicorn when you come across it.
And I mean, it's worth looking into because
Oh
we
yeah,
still do have those areas that, the revitalization is
yes,
happening.
absolutely. And anytime one comes on the market, I've got an agent that loves them, and every time one comes on the market in the area, he calls me with every teacher, firefighter, EMT, everybody that we have pre-qualified over the years that still hasn't found a house, and we go through and together we hit them up, and I get them pre-qualified, and then he submits offers because it's a lottery. So we might submit in 10 contracts, and obviously only one person gets the house, and it's not
Sure.
always one of our people because there's other loan officers obviously that are submitting offers for other clients out there.
Yeah. Now, can this be used as an investment?
No, 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 no. Primary residence only.
Primary.
And same thing with $100 down. That is it has to be an FHA loan. It has to be primary residence. And they do have to occupy that property.
Gotcha.
A great question.
Yeah. And let's see, does anybody else have any questions now that we're at a pause? No? Okay. So now you were talking about the $100 down, but you also mentioned like 3.5% if your credit score is 580
Yes,
or higher.
so it's the 3.5%. If they qualify for just a regular FHA loan, they're gonna qualify for the $100 down. And so
I
it's
see.
truly only $100. It's not the 3.5%. But if you have a buyer that qualifies for an FHA loan with the 3.5% down, they will qualify for the $100 down program. The FHA requirements are you run FHA guidelines when determining their eligibility.
Yeah, that is sweet. Now, where can they go to find these homes again?
There is a website. If they go to www.hudhomestore.gov.
HUD Home Store?
Yep.
If you have that link, can you put it in chat?
Yeah.
Yep.
That may be something to put on a weekly to-do list, to take a peek and see what homes are available in the local market.
I have realtors that are very, very, very in tune with that. And they stalk the heck out of the
I
sites.
imagine you got to react really quick to that.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yeah. If You have to have a borrower ready and willing and waiting and.
Yeah. But I mean, think about how many people are out there just waiting to pick up a home. I mean, I know I'm waiting to pick up a second home in the Reno Sparks area right now. Just waiting for my price point because I want to be close to my granddaughter. You know, I mean, it wouldn't be a primary, but I'm not finding anything. So I can only imagine people who are looking for their primary. That's got to be crazy.
Well, you're getting a great deal, on, you know, it obviously it still has to pass, minimum property requirements for FHA, so it is, I mean, it will be habitable.
You know, when you talk about that, because I get a lot of, you know, as an LO, I get a lot of borrowers that'll send me a listing and go, well, this qualify for FHA. And you look at it and there's, you know, hanging
stuff.
wires and maybe chat just a minute about, you know, some of the property requirements or, you know, conditions that won't allow it because, you know, and they'll be like, well, you know, the MLS listing says FHA ready. And I'm looking at it going, yeah, I may be ready with a couple $1,000s worth of work,
Right.
you know, or $15,000 worth of renovations to the basement because you have wires all over
Right.
the place.
The wildest flag on an appraisal I've ever had was for goose poop on a dock. Yes, and it, like a dock, like it had a big long walkout like dock into the water, like and the goose poop and the clients like the second that we wash this off, the goose are gonna you can't keep the goose. So before the appraiser can get back out there, that goose poop will be back there because it is
Oh my
like
goodness.
it was. Yeah, we had. Yeah, that was so special. Oh, I heard all kinds of things from the agents.
But you know, you
But
see like especially land that has or you know property that has a little bit of acreage with it or you know even up to an acreage there'll be a shed back there that was built in 1912 and it looks like it's about ready to fall over. Will you lend on this? Not with that shed, you know. Well, what's wrong with that shed? Well, if you were to walk into it and push on it, it's probably going to kill you. You know, and I need to be politically correct a little bit on my emails when I send that back, but it's like, is that a safety hazard? Well, not if I don't go in it. Exactly. But if you do go in it,
Yeah.
small children are dying.
have it
Oh my-
removed before the appraiser gets out there.
Yeah.
That way you remove that chance of the appraiser flagging something like that. But if anything is going to deem the house or the surrounding, I've had the driveway has gotten flagged before because somebody could trip and fall, and because it had a crack in it, and yeah, you know, now you're talking about replacing a driveway. That's not cheap.
Right.
But yeah, no, it
Peeling
is
paint
anything.
seems to be the biggest or the easiest one. Is that there was peeling paint around the windowsill and you know, and you see that and you know, I'm right there with the agents like, really? I'm like, yeah, really. Sorry, but you know, that's just one of those hot things is, you know, no peeling paint. You know?
Yeah, that one is on a lot of appraisals.
So really, it's going to be just like anything else. It's going to matter who you have coming to do that appraisal.
Well, and well, some of that stuff is really going to be out there on most of them. But you look at like older homes that you know have a basement and they didn't require handrails.
Oh
And
yeah, VA and handrails.
in today's world, you need a
If you have
handrail.
3 steps,
Yeah,
3 steps or greater, you have to have that handrail on there.
yeah, you need a handrail all the way down and you know when my daughter bought her home, we had to have a handrail put in. You know, she's up in Indiana and you know, her home was built in I think early 70s or whatever it was. And
Yeah.
and And which I find it odd that there wasn't a handrail to begin with, but it's like, you know, your seller's gonna need to go spend $50 and, they can do it themselves. It doesn't need to be a contractor, but it needs to be done and then we'll, it'll take care of it. So, yeah. Handrails and peeling paint seem to be the ones that are most common, and
So now with that being said, this FHA with a twist, what kind of closing times are you looking at with all these little caveats that can raise their ugly little heads? Are you looking
It
at
depends
it?
on the same thing as I would say on any loan that we do, depends on the condition of the house. As lenders, the loans are super easy. We could do those in our sleep. That's not hard. What is difficult is those repairs. And same thing with the 203Ks. A 203K loan is not hard to do the loan. What's hard is getting all the contractor bids and getting the contractors through, because they have to be approved by the lender as well. Is your contractors have to get the approval, so you have to submit all of their paperwork, their blood samples, and getting them to send paperwork is like murder.
Yeah.
And then you have to, the itemization of all the work that they're doing, and everything has to be listed on there. And if something's not listed on there, money can't be given to the client for them to do their own painting. That has to be done by the contractor. And so, generally speaking, people ask that question all the time. Well, how fast can you do a 2 or 3K loan? And I'll be super fast. You get me a good contractor and I got you. A loan is a loan is a loan. We can do those in our sleep, most of us, but it's just the contract and preparing everybody, making sure that everybody is aware that these things do come up, and sometimes those contractors are a little bit slow to get us the things that we need. And if you need to be if you are moving across country to get into this house, don't expect that closing date to happen, because you don't know unless you have got that contractor's all of his paperwork submitted, approved ahead of time. We can't make that promise.
That's what I was going to ask. Is this something that can be done ahead of time? Like, can the realtor be proactive with that stuff, or?
Absolutely. The smoothest ones that I have ever done have been with realtors that know what I'm expecting and know exactly what we're going to be asking for, and they have got their contractor. They've already got the packet ready for me. In which case we can knock those suckers out quick, but that's easier said than done. And the realtors, they work with contractors. They know what it's like. We all have to, it's a team effort to get them to get us everything that we need.
Well, and I mean, just the supply issues, of late. And I mean, if you hit it at the wrong time, with it being spring, I know the contractors around here, they're booked for the summer. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're going out of town, you're not going to get anybody to your house.
Absolutely. And they know the blood samples that the lender, when their lenders are involved, we're asking for the blood samples, and they would much rather go knock out punch lists for people and get paid quickly. And yeah, so finding somebody that will say yes is sometimes a struggle. And you're right, springtime, the timing matters because everybody's has their guy at their house in the springtime.
Yep. I know. We've been trying to get someone out here for like 2 months. But awesome.
Somebody asked a question, do 2 or 3K repairs have to be completed prior to close? No, you don't have none of the repairs get done until after the closing. Nobody does any work until after the loan is closed.
Okay.
And then draws are paid to the contractors, and that's set up differently just depending on what type of rehab loan is being done.
And with the lenders that we have, do they take care of the draws?
As far as, so if the HUD consultant is involved, the HUD consultant has to approve the work that has already been done before they're going to, they have to sign off on it to make sure that it is meeting FHA requirements. And then it's done in a workmanlike manner. I can't remember the verbiage, but it has to be done a specific way before those checks will be released. And so, and it says, how long on average does it take to close 2 or 3K loans? That depends on your contractor. I had actually I did a 2 or 3 refinance recently, and I mean, God bless this customer. She was on it. She had everything lined up. She had all of her. It took her all summer to get all of the contractor bids, and she had everything lined up. And that one took us about 45 days, and she had everything. But it's just those, you know, we have to get the insurance from the contractor. If there's subcontractors, there's additional things that are required. It just varies. When
So
I'm given out,
preparation is really gonna be key.
Pardon?
Preparation is really gonna be key then with these.
Oh, yeah, because I mean, I've seen it take 60 days to get one closed. But that's just because we couldn't, I mean, I couldn't get the contractor on the phone to save my life, and I thought my processor was crazy. But no, it was just straight up. We couldn't, he had other things that he was getting paid on right then and there that he was going to put his attention on. So it took us an extraordinary, you know, extra long time to get everything that we needed to get that one closed.
Absolutely. So I would say to our realtor partners, always make sure that you get with your NEXA loan officer, give them the scenario. If you aren't already working with a NEXA loan officer, log into loanofficersupport.com. It's such a great platform. Talk to one of these experts. You can talk to Dan, you could talk to Mary Lee, and they can go over these scenarios with you to make sure that everything goes smoothly. The last thing you want to do is get into the middle of a transaction and find out, oops, you know, I forgot to ask if they had, you know, this approval or this insurance. So get that ahead of time. And these guys are experts. They're going to know what you need.
Yeah, we can give a list. I can spit out a list of all the required documents for the contractor. That's easy to get.
Yeah.
But actually getting those documents from the
Yeah,
person,
right.
another story.
Yeah, you definitely may have to turn into a semi-stalker when it comes to that, but that's okay. That's all right. Awesome. Does anybody have any other questions? I don't see any here.
That's a sign that Marilee did such a fantastic job.
I know. Way to rock
Yeah.
it,
No.
So Mia, what's on the agenda next week?
So we do have 0% down program with Cassandra Bliss.
Ooh, I want to go to that.
man.
A really cool program.
That is
That is
cool.
awesome.
All righty, having said that, I think we're at the end of today's presentation. Thank you, Marilee.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Much appreciate your time. We know it's valuable. And we will see you all next week. And this is for Karen. Same bat time at the same on the same bat channel.
Woo!
Have a great week, everyone.